Thank you for tuning in to the 𝗦𝗽cie Brant Show. I'm your host, 𝗦𝗽cie, and I'm so excited to bring you yet another superstar from the bodybuilding and fitness industry. This woman has done so much stuff. She has an extensive background, and she has laid a giant footprint in this industry. And I'm really excited because I get to interview her, and I get to learn things about her that I never knew, but I've admired her for so long. And that's what this show is all about. It's about really finding out who these superstars are, what they've brought to the industry. And this is an industry that many of you actually love, and I know that you guys are going to know who this is. So she was an SVP at Century Fox TV. She's a TV host. She did SAG-AFTRA. She was a stunt actor. She was a former Waitress athlete and model. She's an international cover model, and she is a legendary IFBB competitor, fan favorite. She has a huge following, and she's had a following for many, many years, and you guys are all going to know who I bring in here. Just a moment. Let's hear it, though, for Sharon Bruneau. And Sharon, welcome to the 𝗦𝗽cie Brant Show.
Hey, hi. I thought you were talking about someone else.
No, it's you.
Such wonderful words. Thank you for that intro.
It's you. You have just done so much for this industry, and people love you and have followed you and have remembered you for years, Sharon. And you will always be remembered in this industry, and others too, because obviously you have an extensive background in a lot of different areas.
I do. Quite the journey, but I've been around for a while. I'm sort of a dinosaur. But
well, you are a beautiful
you and I go way back. We were some of the OGs at the Gold's Mecca. You competed at the inaugural Miss Fitness Olympia along with myself, but you were already involved with the fitness at the time that we started working together. So yeah, we both had quite the journey, so much to talk about. You look great.
Thank you. A little lighting and some makeup. And,
sure, right? Smoke and mirrors.
The hair. The hair a little bit, yeah.
You're looking all nice and glam over here, sweating and melting.
Well, you are not sweating. You have like a glow about you.
A glow. There we go. Yeah.
You are glowing, Sharon.
Or it's a true bodybuilder. No, I sweat, man.
Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. I haven't. And I know that we talked a handful of years ago. I don't remember exactly how many it's been, but I do remember some phone calls with you, but I haven't seen your pretty face like outside of pictures in a long time.
The last time we saw each other is when we all got to work together with George Contox's in Malibu.
Yes, and we're
some
going
other
to talk
icons,
about that.
our sister,
right.
Iron, and which was an epic shoot, by the way. We didn't realize, at least I didn't, when we were planning that shoot and we got all of the girls together, that it was going to be such an amazing piece of work. So much compliments on it. We should have took that a lot farther. I dropped the ball as producer. I should have had us on the road with posters and
Oh, see, I didn't know any of the background stuff. I know I showed up and I competed recently and we did the photos, and I didn't know, past that. And of course, I don't want to dive into this just yet, but I do have.
Oh, there you go. The calendar.
I do have the copy.
No, I
here.
have here. Oh, you have. I don't know where mine is. There we go.
I have extras if you need me to ship you one. But I would like.
I would. For your mom, you have one extra.
I know, right? I got one extra. I would like for you to sign it. I'm like, can I ship it to you and have you sign it?
That's a good idea. We should get all the girls to sign it. And
I know. And the only one I don't know where I haven't heard from Rachel in a very long time.
I haven't either. I'm worried. Yeah, she's had some.
I know I haven't. I just have not heard from her or seen her, or in the stuff that I have on her doesn't work anymore. So I don't know, but I am in touch with
later. I think I have some updated.
Okay, we'll talk later. I have talked to Sherry and 𝗦𝗽cie a little bit, and I actually want to get them on my show here soon. I would like to see at some point, even if it's like 15, 20 minute, like us to do this with Sherry and 𝗦𝗽cie and come on all together and just kind of, have a
we
girl
can
moment
about the shoot
and maybe get George on, right?
Sure. The background, the making of.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. I think it would be fun. What year was this? This is 2011, so we must have shot it in 2010.
I'm
No,
thinking,
no.
yeah, that sounds right.
2010?
That sounds right. Oh, maybe, no, hold on, because
No, it was
I
sooner
know
than
what
it
I
was
was
like
driving. It was
no,
like
because
2008.
Sharon, because my hair was short here.
Yeah, that was
Oh
around
my gosh.
2008, I want to say.
My hair was short there and I had it a little bit darker. And that was 07, 08 when I had my hair like that.
There we go. Yeah.
Maybe,
I
yeah.
just knew the
So,
car I
or
was driving
maybe,
at the time, so.
or maybe 09. So, but yeah, super fun, super fun. And of course, you know, a lot of great photos here, and it was what a wonderful shoot for sure. So but I want to dive in a little more about you, because I'd like to hear just, you know, who is Sharon and how did you grow up? Because I don't really know that about you, and I'm sure there's a magazine somewhere that has your story, but I probably don't have it.
Lord.
So I want to know, like, how you grew up, where you grew up. Of course, I know you're Canadian. And then how did you, you know, because all of that led you obviously to bodybuilding. So I want to hear that kind of
why, right?
that era.
I don't know why. Well, I was born, now I'm here.
You're here. And you look great. That was a great interview. Thanks, Sharon. Throw a bicep. Let's see the bicep.
Well, I know you. I'm sure you get. We all do at some point get asked, "How did you get in?" Well, for me, bodybuilding, right? Because in my day, you know, the first was Rachel, then Corey, then Linda. Not that I won an Olympia, but then the group I came out, I was under Linda's group. Linda was Miss Olympia during my time of competing at the Miss Olympias.
Right.
And that was before fitness, and now figure, now physique, now bikini, now wellness, now whatever, apron. I don't know what's next.
Transformation. They have transformation now too. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Some of the organizations have transformation.
Yeah. Well, you know, okay. You know, there's so many categories. I don't know who's who anymore. I just don't. And it's hard to follow. Right. Everyone looks fantastic. I see everyone posting their photos. It's like, wow, they look amazing. But it all started with bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And so in the day, why did you want to do bodybuilding? And I remember, you know, I started training not to be a bodybuilder, not to compete. I didn't know anything about the bodybuilding world. Like, I didn't know how my life was going to change later on, right? I didn't expect any of that.
Right.
I just wanted to get in shape. I'm native. I'm very tall, skinny. I'm 5'9", and I've always been, which fared well for the modeling. But I just got tired of, you know, skinny. I wanted a butt, you know, I wanted some shape. I wanted, you know, that's why I got into it. So when I first saw a photo of 𝗦𝗽cie 𝗦𝗫𝗀𝗱, I think it was a cover of Flex, or was her shape book, but I can't remember. But I just remember, I want legs like that. That was it. Yeah. Look at her arms. Oh my God. But her legs, they're amazing. I want those legs.
Yeah.
So that's what got me into the gym, just to look better and feel better. And because I was always an athlete anyway, like a lot of us are, you know, I was in track and volleyball and cheerleading, and I was always active. Anyhow, so that's where it started. And then initially, the lady that owned the gym I was training at in Canada encouraged me to compete. She had a few people competing under her ring. And then I got the bug. It's like, well, you know, this is fun. I like this. I can do this. And, you know, I competed 1, 2, 3, 4 years before I turned pro. Okay. I just kept going. I didn't have to win every show. I wasn't once like, I didn't win that show, I got to go back and win it. Although I should have, because I was still learning. And so a lot of the times I imploded when I was competing at the pro level. And, you know, I got into my head, because in Canada, I was just by myself in my little gym, and nobody, you know, I just got my program and I followed it. But then when I moved to California, and I had every expert telling me what to do, what not to do, and do this and do that, and I'm brand new at this, I'm like, oh my God, you know.
It's a lot, right?
Well, yeah, it is. But yeah, I turned pro in 1991 at the North Americans, and I thought I was just going to take home a trophy, you know, a pro card, and it's like, I did it.
I did it. Okay, what's next?
Yeah, what? Right? Yeah, right. So anyway, no, then I get a contract, and you travel the world, and I knew this and that, and that led into TV, that led into films, that led in, you know, and that led into I was hosting a program, Infinite Fitness, one of the co-hosts for the producer Rolf Auerbach in the day. I don't know if it was before your time. Have you been on a show, Infinite Fitness or Infinite Power Fitness?
No, I was
Yeah,
on.
it was a little bit before your.
I was on Kiana Tom's show, and that was 95, 96.
That was shooting around the same time. That was okay. And no, Kiana had a great show, and Rawls was good too, but it wasn't as it wasn't aired on ESPN or anything like that, right? And anyway, we became friends. So later on, then I got involved with the acting and stunt work, and always kept a foot in the fitness because I was still traveling. I had a contract with 𝗦𝗽cie for almost a decade, doing seminars and workshops, even years after I quit competing. But so I always kept myself busy in both fields. You know, I just don't close that door quite yet.
Right.
But years later, I got a call from Rawls, like, hey, I need someone to host the James Cagney specials for the PAX TV, all these auctions, blah, blah. I love you. I want you. I'm like, I'm there. And then through that, because he was a producer at Fox, I want to produce. I want to kind of learn how to do that. So I started off as his assistant to executive assistant, and then I moved up to senior vice president to his division, branding division at 20th Century Fox Studios. Learned a lot. So I had so much going on, but it was good. And yeah, I mean.
Sharon, what years were you doing that? Were you competing while you were also involved in as the SVP?
Oh, no. No, I retired competition in 90. It was after the fitness. 95?
So 95. So that was the last thing you did?
Yeah, that was the last competition.
And then you went into doing the TV producing and going to that route.
And that was kind of just starting as I was leaving the competition stage. So I ran with that, and that was TV and film. Plus, I was still traveling a lot.
What a wonderful transition into not just acting, but like getting your hands dirty with the production part of it.
Oh yeah, and that was so much fun. I loved working on the lot. And of course, you know, my mom. Well, I grew up. We all, you know, but I'm not sure how much older you, but I'm a lot older than you, I think.
I'll be 52 this year, so in October.
Well,
so for my birthday, I need to send this to you and have you sign it because it's October.
Absolutely.
It's October, Sharon. So your picture is on my birthday month.
Oh, and I'm February, so there. Well, I'm 58. I just turned 58 in February. So as a little girl, I grew up watching all the musicals, Singing in the Rain. They were my favorite, you know, and I always wanted to get to film somehow, right? Since a little girl. Anyway, working on the lot was so magical. It was a treat to go to work every day, although it was long hours and stuck in your offices most of the time. But yeah, it was a real joy to work there. It was a blessing, you know. But you just take it. I'm always looking for new adventures, you know, new experiences. Like what's next for me, right?
I think that's what makes people successful, though. If you just get stuck doing the same thing, you know, there's always another level to what you're doing. And I'm sure that the bodybuilding industry and all the hard work and long hours you spent in dealing with people and learning how to deal with people, fans and coaches and people, and transitioned you easily into what you had to do with the entertainment industry too.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of
tough.
But it all kind of plays together because even in the bodybuilding, we're always on TV hosting certain events or being involved in certain training shows, right? And you know, or Joe Weider's training methods. You're always in front of the camera doing something. So it was a great training ground for that. But even prior to that, I was hosting events as well. So it was just I just love being busy for one, but I love people. I love meeting new people. Everyone's got a story. I just love interviewing people like you do, you know, and just digging out some good stuff from their background and just learning the whys and how and you know.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. That's so fun. So going back to bodybuilding, do you remember your first show? Where was it? And do you remember like prepping for it? Did you have any experience with the posing? I mean, like because you said, you said gymnastics. Did you do gymnastics? No. So how did you?
That's why I sucked at the fitness routines.
They were tough. How did you? How did you prep for that show with the bodybuilding routines? And did you have like a mentor that helped you?
No, like for the, I had guidance obviously on like the training and the diet, right? Because there's things I didn't know about how intense the training can be pre-contest. And of course, contest diet and everything else. So of course I had a coach to help me with that, especially in the initial stages. So I turned pro at the 1991 North Americans in California. And that, competing up to that, I think the year before I competed at the Canadian Nationals. Okay, so here we go. Made the Canadian Nationals. And, I'm been trained just like when I hit it, I'm just large and in charge and I'm lean, much like yourself. And that's why a lot of, those who turn pro for a reason, because you're dedicated, you got that will and you're focused. And, you're told to diet this way, you diet that way. I mean, there's no, cheating around it, right? So Canadian Nationals was held in Toronto that year, 1990, and they announced I placed second. Like at that time, I was living in Vancouver, which I'm back right now. I'm in Vancouver right now, but so I fly back to Vancouver with my second place trophy. Then I get a phone call from, I won't say who, but if your history of Canadian Bodybuilding Federation, the president of the Canadian Federation calls me up, apologizes. There was a miscalculation in the scoring. You actually placed third. So we're going to have you and third place girls swap trophies. Now it's a glass, I don't even have it anymore, but it's a glass dish, beautiful crystal dish. So I'm thinking, well, screw that. And this was 3 weeks after. I'm sorry, everyone, but I'm like, really? 3 weeks, oh, well, second, third, fourth, I didn't win, right?
Yeah.
So she mails me hers. It's all broken.
Oh.
So I kept mine. I'm like, no.
I'm taking the broken one.
So rotten, right? Well, yeah. I mean, you could have at least padded it a bit,
She just threw it in a box.
Here you go. I want my trophy.
Oh my gosh.
So, and then I get a call another couple of weeks later, said, no, actually you placed fourth. So I'm like, you gotta be. I'm like, this, you work your butt off and everything else. And I was getting tired of it because at that time I was already interested in going into television and film, right? Because still to this day, there's so much filmed here in Vancouver. So I'm like, I was going to quit. And that's it. Not because I didn't win the show. It's just like, no, I'm tired anyway. I'm done. So everyone, my friends, and at the time, my husband at the time, they were all like, you got to move forward. At least go to the Worlds or the North Americans. Yeah. At least go because you're eligible. You place top three. And at that time, that's the rules. You had to place in top three in order to move forward.
Right.
Like, nah. So I had already did some photos for Women's Physique World for Steve Winterstrom. And so I had the pictures out, so I'm getting exposure. I'm like, oh, that's so cool, muscle man. And a fan, at the time, you can look in the directory and find someone's number. He called me, and I thought it was one of my friends messing around with me, right? Because he was from Alabama. I think it was Alabama. And he's like, I forget his name. I'll just say, hi, this is Sharon Bruneau. I'm Bob from Alabama. I'm a big fan of yours. And I hope that you go to the North American, right? Like, who is this? So everyone's like, do it. And he's like, oh, you should do it. So I'm like, well, maybe I should do it, right? So you have to ask permission. I asked permission from president of the federation. Can I go to the North Americans? Well, Sharon, it's on the phone. Don't you think you should at least win a national show before you represent Canada at the North Americans? Like, don't you think you should at least get the title first, So like, yeah, I'm not doing your show again, it was such a mishmash.
Yeah.
So this guy calls me. I'm like, who is this guy, And the guy from Alabama, so he sends me the entry form to North Americans. So I sat on it for a bit and I thought, I may as well go, right? I'm still like in shape. And so I trained for that show. And you know what? That was the most peace of mind I had training for any show, because I was like, half me was like, if I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. I'll do it. Everyone's right. I'm so close. Okay, I'll do it. So, of course, even my half-ass training, I had like an 8-pack. If you saw the photos from North Americans, I was just,
well, you have beautiful physique, no doubt. Beautiful physique, yes.
So I show up, And we're at the weigh-in the day before or the morning of or whatever. And of course, it's the North Americans. So the Canadian president's there, just mad as hell at me because I showed up. How dare I? Already weighed in. He pulled me aside, but since you're here, I'll let you compete. He goes, but you're banned from competing for 3 years. So I looked at him, was like, whether I win I said, if I don't win the show, I'm not competing anymore anyway. So I don't give a frick,
Yeah.
It was nasty. So I win the show.
So then I win the show. That is so awesome.
And I didn't expect you because I remember walking backstage and, if you saw the photos, I was ready. But in my head, I'm thinking, oh, they put half my energy into this. I should have trained harder because there's Tazzy Cologne, just ripped and full and gorgeous. And Nicole Bass was competing.
I remember them.
Year.
Yeah.
She's like 6 feet and she's like, but there's a lot of faces that I had seen in the publications. And, in Canada, we didn't get anything but publications. We didn't get guest posers and everything. So I couldn't compare myself to, and I'm thinking, I should have trained harder. I'm going to look like a fool out there. Honestly, that's what I was thinking in my head. And anyway, blah, blah, blah. I win the show. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding. I did it, right? And like I said, where's my trophy? I'll go home. But thank you. And nana to Tony, the guy. Anyway.
And your mindset is probably only on that show, right? Like you weren't thinking of like, okay, I won this. If I win the show, what do I do next? You were just like, I'm going to be done after this, right? Yeah. That's probably your mindset.
That was it. I was like, okay, I did it. See everyone, I did it. Okay, thanks for the encouragement and everything else. Oh, and he did come up to me. I was taking the elevator. I was staying at the Marina Pacifica Hotel.
I remember that place.
In Venice.
Yeah. Everyone
all the bodybuilders used to stay there, right?
There.
Right? Our second home, if you didn't live in LA at the time. And I'm riding the elevator up to my room with Bill Dobbins and my husband. And who walks into the elevator was the president of the Canadian Federation. He's
wow.
We're so proud of you. And oh my God, you look gorgeous. You're amazing. You're going to be great. I know. I'm just looking at him like.
Now he's wishing he could eat his words.
But I hardly got any appearances in Canada. I moved to LA. All my appearances were either in the US or around the world. If it wasn't for Gators Gym, who was one of my first sponsors, who brought me out to headline at his bodybuilding shows in Vancouver, in BC, I had no appearances. Oh, and Bob Kennedy would bring me out for the Muscle Make stores. But anyway, so that's water on the bridge. Years later, here I am. But you asked about the posing routines. And no, I just wing it. I just went out and winged it because I love to dance and I have a start, I'm great at movement and dance. So I just.
Okay. So you had that piece of it. And then
I had some stage experience.
Okay. Well, that makes a difference in being able to be comfortable on stage, even if it's a new thing.
But, I look at my routines and it's like, and I did get some heck for it because I was moving too fast because I didn't want to be, but that's what it is. I was out there going, da, 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 and that's why I threw a lot of the dance into it, a lot of the movements and everything, because I wanted to be different. But then I look back too, because everyone's like, you got to slow it down. You got to hold poses. It's hard to take pictures of you.
Right.
Yeah.
The photographers are like, stop, wait, I can't catch you.
But then now you look at the fitness girls and they're flipping and flying through the air. And it's like, and they're able to get good pictures of them. But I look at myself now, and it's like, oh, I should have practiced, and had at least some staple moments where, I'd hold it, slow it down. But anyway, it was so much fun. Not the dieting and the training, but, just being with my sisters on stage, and we're all prepared. We're all ready. We all work so hard, and just, having fun and just competing with each other, and then hanging out later and doing photo shoots. And it was a great time of my life. Absolutely. And I miss everybody. I miss seeing everybody. Yeah.
Right. So I have a thought I want to share, and then I want to ask a question. So when I used to host these women's events, the fem camps, I don't know if you remember those or not. I kind of did them all over. Yeah.
Oh, so
we did on a Friday. It was a 3-day event. So Friday and Saturday, I hosted I called it poise and presentation for stage, or I just said, this is for life. Like I'm going to teach you how to walk in heels. We're going to work on poses that you could use for shooting next to your girlfriend, like, you know, fun pictures where you know how, because how many girls are like, I don't know how to stand, right? So I was teaching these women how to pose on stage if they were going to compete, how to pose for photos if they were going to do photos, either professional or candids with their girlfriends. And I would make them practice all together in the posing room. And then what I did with them, which you'll laugh, is I used to tell them, okay, you're going to hold this pose and I want you to think in your head. And if you have to say it out loud at first, because, you know, girls get all nervous and they're like, I'm like, because these are all like brand new people usually that, you know, had never done anything or maybe did one show or something. But I said, I want you to say out loud, click, click, click before you move your pose. That meant like click, 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 someone taking a picture of you,
the
right?
Camera? Okay.
And so they had to stand there in their pose. They'd be like, click, click, click. And then they could move. And I don't care how awkward. I was like, I don't care how awkward it is. Just, I want you to get the idea of holding that pose so that you can get the picture, because you're not going to want to be on stage for that short amount of time and not have any pictures. So it was just cute. And you know, the way you're talking, it just reminded me, I forgot I used to do that with the girls in the posing class.
How fun. And how great, you know, I did, at the beginning, when I first started getting into TV and film, I did take a lot of acting classes in Vancouver, in LA, with different coaches and that. But then you get to know, you know, other actors are in there or public speakers, because they took the acting classes just to get more comfortable in front of people, like doing certain things that that's not normal for them, so that they're like for the confidence. And some people weren't interested in either hosting, speaking, acting, anything. They just took it for the confidence, you know. So it's interesting that you did that with the fem camps and that. What a great idea. How fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Do you remember the first fitness international for IFBB? It was 97, I think, was the first fitness international that IFBB did, because they had a 𝗦𝗽cie fitness competition there at the Arnold prior to IFBB coming in. So 97 was the first year they did fitness international for IFBB. Yeah. Well, you'll get a kick out of this one. And the reason I ask, is kind of goes in what we're talking about, is they had 4 rounds. So they had the physique round in the 2-piece. They had a routine round, which you knew about already. They had a sports round, where that first year they had the athletic thing where they had these dots on the ground and you had to listen to a timer and see a screen, and it would tell you where to jump to, and it judged how fast your action was. I don't remember. Yeah. So that was a round. So that was actually a round. And so you would watch a screen and there was a big mat on the floor and you had to get to each dot, you know, they'd be lateral, forward, backwards, or whatever. So you had to be quick on your feet. So that was one round. And then the 4th round, Jim Lorimer wanted us to have a speaking round where we had to pull a question out of a hat and answer it on stage. And I remember we were at the athletes meeting that year and everyone's like, what's up with this round? Because it was so different, right? Now, I came from 𝗦𝗽cie round competition, where 𝗦𝗽cie Fitness USA, that was one of our rounds. We had to speak on stage and wear a gown,
like Miss America. Heels.
Yeah, and we had to say in 45 seconds or less what our philosophy on fitness was.
Oh my!
And
God.
They literally would cut the mic off if you went over. Like at 45 seconds, the mic went dead. So you'll love this.
Like interviewing somebody. Okay, we're done. Thank you very much. So next.
Yeah. So I had to have I literally had to have a gown, like from a pageant gown to wear. And I'm sharing this with you because I think you'll really get a kick out of it. I ended up back then, it was in the beginning 90s before IFBB. Okay. And I hired, and of course I didn't have to pay her. She sponsored me, but she was a pageant coach. So she taught me how to walk in heels, how to wear a gown so that I could walk on stage on a gown. And then she helped me put my little presentation speech together. And she made me say it. I would go once a week and work with her at her house. And then my coach at the time, my trainer at the gym, he would make me do a set, and then he'd stop me and he'd say, tell your philosophy of fitness to, you know, whoever, Bob over here, or whoever it was, right? Like, so I remember having to say that stupid speech over and over and over. So where it just rolled natural. Well, and of course I talked about my grandmother teaching me, you know, how her strength and all of that, but it was so fun. So in 97, Fitness International is the first Fitness International. And they had the 4 rounds, the physique, the routine, that hoppy thing, judging your speed and, you know, correctness on whatever. And then the last one was the speaking round on stage. So we had maybe 30 girls on stage, international, all different languages. And Jim Lorimer literally told us, you wear what you would wear to a polo match. Because no one knew what to wear on stage.
Because everybody's been to a polo match.
Right. And so we were all like, what is that? And so I ended up bringing like just a simple, I know, right? I brought a simple little black, cute skirt, black, cute heels. I had a very conservative fitted velvet shirt, and my makeup artist, you know, she did my hair up, and I got, you know, they did give you a list of all the questions. So they probably had like 40 questions and you could look over them, but you know, just kind of in the top of your head, like, okay, well, if I get that one, I'll say that and that. So I don't remember what question I drew, but I ended up winning that round.
Nice.
And I know,
well,
right?
Prepared.
I was prepared. And, you know, like you said, speaking on stage and feeling comfortable on that. But I had done all these things to prepare myself for that. And I loved that round. And I was so sad when they took it out. But everyone complained because the girls that couldn't speak English, you know, they were having issues translating. And then some of and then some of the girls wore just like outlandish, really crazy outfits. And so everyone, I think the industry was just like, well, it's kind of boring and people can't. And then a lot of the USA girls couldn't talk on stage. So it made them look bad, right? They were so nervous. They couldn't speak correctly, or, you know, they couldn't speak clearly. They couldn't get their thought out. And so it looked poor. Like they looked like they couldn't talk basically. So
bad structure.
So they took it out.
Even the fitness Olympia. And, you know, I see some of the old photos floating around, right? But I mean, if you look now, they all get to wear the sparkly, beautiful outfits, and they're all blinged out, and some have tattoos and piercings. I mean, in our day in bodybuilding, if you had piercings after your ears, you had to take them all out.
Yep.
If you had tattoos, you had to cover them. Or you were a doctor, you just weren't allowed to go on stage. And there was no bling allowed, period, except if you had a wedding ring or whatever, right? But they had to be solid colors. So it's like, oh, what color do I get to wear? I can't decide, you know. But, that's how simple it was. But so for the Fitness Olympia, it's like, well, okay, because I used to judge some of the shows for 𝗦𝗽cie, right?
Oh, yeah, Fitness America.
So I had an idea of what they're looking for. And, you know, you learn how to judge, you know, certain criteria and that. So I'm thinking, and it was Joey, I didn't want to, here's the story. I didn't want to do the Fitness Olympia because I judged them. Okay, I'm a bodybuilder. I'm not a gymnast. You know, my own fault. I wasn't stretching as often as I should have. So I lost a lot of flexibility. And I would look at the girls. I'm like, God, they're amazing because they're dieting and training. And yet they still have enough like energy to do flips and everything on stage and these routines on top. People don't realize that's also extra training on top of the gym and the cardio, right?
It's nuts.
So I'm like, God, they're amazing. Holy. I mean, I was blown away. Big fan, right? So Joe's like, I want you to compete in the first Miss Olympia Fitness. You know, that, and he said this to me. That way you get to look like Rachel. You know, you can trim down, be smaller and everything else, right? And I said, Joe, I can't do that. And I'm under contract. So when am I, you know? And he goes, no, I want you to go into like, Joe, these are gymnasts. Like, these are, no, Joe. He goes, oh, I bet, you'll be fine. Just go in there. You don't have to flip around. Just, you know, you need to be dancer or stuff like that. I'm like, all right. So like, what am I going to do?
Great.
So I stopped weight training. I stopped weight training and I just did cardio. And then that's when I was studying wushu. So I thought, I'm going to do a wushu routine, you know,
I
something
remember, yeah.
different, right? With my sensei. And, but I didn't weight train. I just did cardio because I was trying to, you know, for fitness and blah, blah, blah. So it comes to, what am I going to wear? So what are you wearing? What are you wearing? What are you wearing? You know, if you look at those photos, we're all like in like one's in a one piece and a full suit and a bikini and a thong and a big butt, you know, so it was like going to the beach. It was like all over the place, you know, as far as dress was concerned, right?
Yeah.
And what did they have, the one piece and the two piece, right? Was that the one piece and two piece?
Yes, one and two, and a routine. Yeah.
And then we're told, you know, you're not to stand like, you know, no bodybuilding stances, like the relaxed, you know, no, none of that, none of this. So I'm like, I'm trying to be as small as I can because and you know, I forget, you know, I'm watching, of course, the girls that I judge, you know, Carolyn Semple at that time was like one of the top girls. And you did fabulous because I remember seeing you with Lisa Nanzella training in the studio. You worked really hard and you improved like from here, honestly, to there. It's like, wow, good for Monica.
That's because I got coaches.
Right here, I'm like, I know what to do. So I'm watching backstage and they have monitors. I'm thinking, oh, what's her name? I can't.
Mia Finnegan.
Yeah, I remember that was an Nancy Kerrigan thing that happened. I'm looking for what's her face, smack my legs, you know.
Oh, who's gonna hit me?
Yeah, what's her face when I need her? You know,
can someone hit me, please? Knock me out.
I did not want to go on stage.
Aww.
And, you know, it's like they called my name because of the bodybuilding. You know, the explosion. You know, I had a big round. You're Sharon Bruneau, which is like, thank you. I do my routine. You know, and it's like silence.
People are like, is that it?
Sad. You know, my routine was that sad. Like, what was that? You know.
Oh, these are the great stories because things that you never get to hear.
And everyone was so afraid that they were just going to hand me the title because I'm Sharon Bruneau. I had all this exposure, and Joe's having to do the show. And I remember Jerry Braden, he'd like pull girls behind, you know, if I happened to walk by, I'm like, whoever he was interviewing, you know, like, hi, Monica, you people, not that it was you, but I'm thinking, but they were asking, how do you feel about Sharon Bruneau being on the show? What I think I placed dead last, which I didn't expect to win. I honestly didn't expect to be in the top 5 because I knew it was so that was it. So I went to Joe because now I'm living in California and, you know, lived in Calabasas. So I just got to see Joe all the time. Well, at the time I was in Marina Del Rey, but either way, you know, went and saw Joe about a month after the show. And I'm like, you know, which I do like once a week anyway, go visit with Joe. And I'm like, hey, Papa, I got to retire. He's like, oh, you look beautiful out there. I thought you did wonderful. People don't realize how hard that is to do. And I know, Joe. I said, but I love, you know, because I'm still under contract. And I said, but I still love, if you want to keep me under contract, you know, I'll stay in shape for the photos. I still love doing the stunt. And he goes, no, of course. You know, I don't give a shit if you tap dance, just stay in shape, you know.
Right.
So I was after that, I was under contract for another, what was it, 3 years? Yeah. But, the memory.
So awesome. That's so awesome. So I love it. Well, you know, that particular year, it seems like a lot of people had things that happened. And I remember even like Mia, she won that show, but remember,
did she win it was Mia that won?
The first Fitness Olympia.
So
Mia won.
Well,
even that year, like, and her routine was, you know, just amazing.
Well, she's fabulous.
Yeah. But I remember they said no thong, T-back, whatever you want to call it, right?
And she won the thong.
Well, she had leggings that had mesh leggings underneath her outfit. And for whatever reason, I think they ripped or something, which nowadays people probably rip them anyways. But she ended up not being able to wear them. And I remember everyone was like, oh my gosh, she went on stage without her leggings. And and it was like the big thing, but she had such a great routine. I got to interview her maybe a year ago on here. It was really great to catch up with her and just kind of brainstorm about all the fun stuff. But what a great story. I never knew that. And that is so fun. So fun. And so I want to talk a little bit about your experience with actually competing in bodybuilding. Who, if any, and I know you said Rachel, which I would love to have Rachel on the show here. And I messaged her a year and a half or so ago, and she just said, well, I'm really not doing anything fitness industry anymore. And I'm like,
no, yeah, she's pretty chill. Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's okay. Is this about I'm like, it's about the history that you've left here, right? And so many people still like you, people who she is. And people ask me still once in a while, like, what's up with, I'm like, I don't know. But anyway, so with bodybuilding outside of Rachel, who were kind of your like people maybe that you really maybe admired or enjoyed competing with because maybe they created you to work a little harder? And who were those? What names were those names?
Oh, that was it truly was a golden era, and I'm sure it was even better in the 80s. Of course, Rachel, Corey. I remember when Corey won the first Miss, because I'm such a Rachel fan, that when Corey won, I'm like, oh man, she beat Rachel. But what I mean, and I say this all the time, Corey and I, we speak, and so do Rachel and I, and they're both absolute wonderful, fabulous ambassadors. They're both gorgeous. I mean, but Corey has a frame that will never be beat, whether it be bodybuilding, fitness, figure, physique. My opinion, okay.
No, it's beautiful.
Too, but I mean, she is so balanced, and her joints are so tiny, and her muscle bellies and everything's so long, and everything perfect. She did it perfect. Her training, perfect. I mean, it was just jaw dropping. I remember when I first saw her, I was at my first Olympia in '92. It was my first Miss Olympia, and that was in Chicago. And Linda was reigning, and of course, Linda won another 5 after her, kind of thing. But and Linda looked amazing too, and another different physique, the X Factor, the series. Linda, I'm like, oh my god,
the waist and everything, yeah.
Oh my Lord, those shoulders. But I remember seeing Corey the first time. She had white tights on. And we're all backstage. She's talking to 𝗦𝗽cie, and I couldn't stop staring. I mean, her legs are truly that fabulous. I'm like, oh my god. I mean, I thought it was just the pictures. Well, yeah, a great inspiration. 𝗦𝗫cie Portuguese, because I come from a modeling background. I thought, well, how cool for her, to bring the modeling into, and well, of course, Rachel and Corey were gorgeous too, and so and like everyone's something. Well, yourself, I mean, everyone, I think it's just that health factor too, the glow that everybody has. I'm gonna say the most fun I had traveling, because in my day, we all hit the FIBOs together and did all the appearances around the world. Love Linda. She is just an amazing spirit. She just shines. I just love her. The most fun I've had, Debbie Mugley.
Okay.
She was so much fun.
Actually,
she and I. Go ahead.
No, I just remember her pictures and her, but I never really got to know her.
Debbie, yeah, she competed a few years after I retired, and then she got married. She's got a daughter. She went back teaching kindergarten, and her daughter's like a world-class gymnast now.
Oh wow!
Yeah, amazing. Of course, right?
Yeah.
And Debbie and I, along with a few other the girls in the day, were in Nemesis together. But she and I played these cyborgs with the blonde wigs and the big leather outfits and big boots and stuff. And if we didn't have the wigs on, they had bowl caps on us and that. And we would take off from set if they were done with us for a while. Okay, go chill in your honey wagons, or stand by the craft table, whatever, but try stay out of the heat. We're in Globe, Arizona. It's like 200 degrees, they want our makeup to melt. And so we take off, because they had dune buggies there. We took off on the dune buggies a couple of times, because there's a Walmart in Globe, Arizona. There's a Walmart, there's a bar, and and a gym, teeny little town outside of Phoenix. And we took off a couple of times to Walmart in our outfits as Locke and Ditko, and we, those big wheelie kids, little big wheelies and that. steal one each and we went around Walmart in our outfits. I mean, people are like, I don't know, who are you? Where'd they come from? She was so much fun. But she was like this little girl in this big body, Yeah. But and the guys too, a lot of fun. But yeah, those were but yeah, my biggest inspirations were Gladys, Rachel, and Corey.
Man, just some good days, and it I know that I got into competing in 91, 95, moved to California. And that's when I started, like I said, I started working with Lisa. Lisa just transformed my routine. And then I got
amazing.
Right. And she did all my music. And then I ended up getting a gymnastics coach, learning gymnastics in my late 20s. So
that's insane. That's why I said, I remember watching like that's insane. How did you do that?
I don't know.
This girl is an athlete, everybody. This is a true athlete, Monica. I mean, I kid you not. I'm not just saying this because she's in front of me. This girl, I watched her grow at Gold's Gym. Yes. I did. She
right?
Did, I just, day after day after day. Yeah.
I remember Lisa. Because mind you, I didn't come from any dance background either. Like I was a horseback rider and I ran track and played volleyball and I water skied. Those were my athletic things growing up. And I was good at all of them and I loved all of them, but none of those taught you skill on stage. They didn't teach you how to spot a turn or point your toes or anything. And I remember when I first started working with Lisa, pointing my toes would make my calves and my feet cramp up. So it was miserable. And I remember Lisa yelling at me because just for you guys listening, Gold's Gym Venice used to be, if you didn't know this, it used to just be Gold's Gym Venice. And there wasn't like the franchise of Gold's Gyms all across the world. So it was like, that was the Mecca, right? And then
it still is.
And so I went in and of course, that's where I got my choreographer. She was a dancer, very distinguished dancer in her own right, and she'd been on TV and movies.
Well, she's a world-class dancer, choreographer, and she did a lot of film and TV.
So she was yelling at me, point, spot, and smile. Point your toes, spot your turn, and smile. She'd yell the whole time I was practicing, point, spot, smile. And I'm like, trying to learn how to do these things. Strength moves. And there was one strength move series
left, right.
Yeah. And then there was one strength move series that I wanted to learn so bad. And I didn't see anyone else doing it. I just thought, if I can be here and then I can be here and I want to learn this. So I remember the day, because for months I was practicing it and she kept telling me, you've got to get this, you got to get this. And then she finally said, Monica, if you don't have this next week, we're taking it out or we're moving and we're doing something easier. And I was like, no, I have to get this.
That's your will. That's a great quote.
And sure enough, I got it by the next week. And then that was like my signature thing I did in all my routines until I could quit competing. It would be in there, that strength move series. And I never, at that point, had seen anyone else doing it. So I just wanted my own signature thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But she was amazing. So I'm so excited to talk to you. It's so fun and I have so many questions. I'm looking at my time. I'm like, I don't want to keep you on too much, so long that, I wear you out talking about stories, but
have to do it again.
What about shooting? Because you were a very well-known athlete and model. And your pictures are just beautiful. You always knew how to pose. And can you talk a little bit about the modeling in the fitness realm and what, how that was for you? And also maybe, just like, what do you think about that part of the era of fitness? Because it's so different now, right? Like everyone's a social media.
Well, it is. It was a different time, It sounded like my parents in that day, when we had
back in the day. But would you not say that it was so different? And I think you and I can relate to this, but the magazines created stars for the industry because they put out who they thought should be the star, right? And nowadays we don't have that. Nowadays you're self-star. You're self-star.
Absolutely. You pulled the words right out of my mouth. And that's the big difference. Because of social media, everyone is a star. We're all superstars. I'm not taking anything away from anyone.
No,
You know,
right.
just getting through life. We're all superstars, honestly,
Right,
whether you're
right.
fitness or not.
Right.
But yes, that is a fact. That is an absolute truth. Before the internet killed publications, just like VH1 killed the radio, right? The magazines did make you a star. So whether you, like, I never won Olympia. I never won a pro show. I turned pro. I won my show to turn pro and earn the right to be recognized as an IFBB pro. Okay. But I never won a pro show. But I got more covers and features than most of the winners. So that's why I always say to, even now, I'll say to whatever it is you're, you know, in whether it's the fitness field or, you know, like AGT or The Voice, you know, you don't have to win, just get the exposure. That'll make you a star. But you got to stay on top of it. You got to be good at it. And because of my modeling background, that was my favorite. I was always comfortable in front of the cameras. And I, you know, if Bill or Robert or Michael or George were watching this, they just let me play. They just here's the idea, you know, then I just start and like, oh, okay, well, no, okay, that's good. Just keep going, you know.
There was no bad angles on you or anything. Like your features of your face, your body, you know.
Well, you know this too, because you're very good in front of the camera too. You have a lot of great images because of your comfort in front. And because you have this confidence within that the more you do it, the more comfortable you become. Okay, that's a given. But a lot of the stage helps you with that too, right? You know, you're used to being in front of an audience, whether it be live or just that camera and, you know, people seeing it later on. But I've always enjoyed modeling. I've always enjoyed print work. And whatever outfit they put on me, then I just had a certain energy that came with it. I mean, you know, I'm still shooting. I still do a lot of shoots and that, you know, it's just, it's like, it's an art. It is an art. But I'm going to say, you know, a lot of, not a lot, but, you know, some of the athletes were a little peeved that I was getting more exposure because, as you know, especially being under contract with 𝗦𝗽cie, you can only shoot for 𝗦𝗽cie publications, right? So there was Muscle and Fitness, there was Flex. Shape had their own kind of world going on. They're owned by 𝗦𝗽cie, but they were like into the Jane Fondas and the Suzanne Summers, right? And then there was Men's Fitness. So for the women at that time, there's only Muscle and Fitness and Flex. He had a ton of athletes under contract at the time, men and women. So everyone's vying for a cover. So when you got a cover at that time, it was a big deal because you couldn't work with any other publications. You know, prior to the contract, I was able to work with Muscle Mag and Iron Man and so forth and so on. And everyone's like, well, how come Corey got so much exposure? It's because in the day there was no contracts. You got to shoot for everybody. You know, everybody got a piece of you, so to speak. But, you know, so that was very special. And so I was always, thank you, Lord, every time I got a feature or a cover because, you know, and again, I didn't win a pro show. It doesn't matter. It's what sells. It's what the market wants. And, you know, if you're a good business owner, it's all about marketing and how you package your product, whether it be your supplements or your contests, your magazines, whatever. You put on that cover what sells for you that makes you money, right? And that's why you had so many covers, you know, yourself. And that wasn't easy. That was, yeah, I mean, I think that was my favorite out of everything was doing the shoots.
Yeah, it was fun, especially working with photographers. There's a lot of really great photographers. So.
Oh, the best.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I remember when I moved to California in '95. You know, you go into Golds and you start doing the thing, and then you end up outside of the 𝗦𝗽cie publication contracted photographers. There was maybe like 4 or 5 top photographers for the whole industry that you knew if you shot with them, your stuff was going to get somewhere. It was,
absolutely.
Right? Rick Schaff, Irvin Gelb, Alex Ardenti.
Oh, those are
Jim and Mentler.
Jim and Mentler. I shot a lot with Jim right after I turned pro.
That's like
Ralph
those
DeHaan.
Well, Ralph was a contracted photographer for 𝗦𝗽cie for the most part until later. My first
No,
cover
when I
with
first
him.
started shooting with him, he was with Women's Physique World.
Well, so when this was 94, my first cover, Muscle and Fitness, and he at the time was a contracted photographer. So
really,
yeah, I met him and Steve Winterstrom at the same time with John Perillo in 93. In Tijuana, there was it was the Nationals, or maybe it was either, I'm sorry, it was the USA's or the Nationals. I can't remember. And I was dating a bodybuilder. He was competing there. And I didn't know anything about the industry either. I was just like, I'm going to go see this guy I'm dating. And he was training with John Perillo. So John Perillo was like, you need to meet friends of mine, Ralph DeHaan, Steve Winterstrom. And then that's kind of how I ended up shooting with Ralph and getting that cover. I didn't know anybody. I didn't even know what a cover was. Bodybuilding. Nice. Yeah, but it was fine. But so many of those, right, and just kind of being at the right place.
And that a network.
And it's funny, that bodybuilder that night after the show, he was so mad. You know how bodybuilders, they can get like a little crazy. He was so angry that he placed 8th in the super heavyweight division. So he was unhappy with that. And then I was getting more attention than him, probably because I was,
well, you're Monica.
Well, but at the time I was just this cute blonde girl from Texas who had never done anything.
Beautiful.
Right. So he quit talking to me.
Still to say it, it's a period,
He literally didn't talk to me the rest of that night. And I left the next day with my girlfriend, and I was like, well, I don't even think I saw him again or talked to him for a while. And he finally called me, I guess. But isn't that crazy? But that's how I got my first cover.
There you go. Well, in the right place at the right time, right?
Yeah.
Like, see, he came into your life for a reason. It wasn't all wasted. You got a cover because of him.
Yeah. My first one. So do you have a favorite cover that you remember that off the top of your head?
Oh yeah. I mean, absolutely. My favorite of all time. And I've had some of my where I'm the only one on the cover, but no, my favorite of all time is the Flex with Linda and Corey.
I know. I was thinking in the back of my head, I love that. I was in the inside feature, but I always love that cover of you guys.
I treasure that because I remember, and we've got some stories. That was a fun shoot, but I just remember being with those two, and I didn't know we were going to get a cover. We kind of thought, but you never know, right?
Was that Robert Reef shooting that?
Robert Reef, and I was so thrilled. I was so thrilled to be there. I was like, oh my God.
Gorgeous cover. Gorgeous cover.
Okay. Yeah, that was, great memories. Corey and I still laugh, but that's for another time. No, I mean, just blessed. I mean, so grateful for that one. But I was going to say, like back in the day, I remember at the 92 Miss Internationals and in Columbus, Ohio. And that was my first pro show. So my first entry into the pro world, right? Of competition and photographs, because interesting. That's why a lot of my older covers, if I'm with like Milos, or I'm with Sonny Schmidt, or I'm with Lee Labrada, or with I'm using the same outfit with the same hairdo because and I didn't know to bring like 20 outfits because what the photographers did this just before the contract wars, right? With Weeder and Metarex and Twin Lab and that's how I got the Weeder contract. But the photographers, Jim Mentler, Ralph DeHaan, Irving Gelb, the Women's Physique World crew, I mean, like all these independent photographers, they would, Paul Good.
Paul.
Motel rooms in the hotels that all the athletes were doing that.
Yes.
And we're all running from room to room doing photo shoots with each other. Are you done over here? Okay, they want you over. Oh, okay, and it's like, but I didn't have any outfits to change into. I'm like, well, I didn't know. Don't you have anything for me to wear? So I have, you see all these different covers with different guys with the same outfit. But that was so much fun, That was the day after.
So, you know what? I bet that we were at one shoot together, and I didn't know you at the time. So I think it was it had to be 1996. Jim and Mentler had extra points on an airline, and he brought me to the Arnold. That was my first experience at the Arnold. So he brought me out to the Arnold, and I did photos like you're saying. And, he set up the hotel room with the backdrop, and the girls in and out, and the guys, and you're like shooting. Well, Marla Duncan was there with me, because
Marla.
So her and Jim were really, really good friends. And
yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Marla had been my inspiration. So here I am on this photo shoot with Jim and of course Marla. And I'm like wondering, I had to have stayed because I didn't have, Jim put me up and everything. So I must have stayed in the same room with Marla. Like I'm kind of like spaced out. I just remember the photo shoot and I remember being there and I had my cover and I had, for some reason, I don't remember how that happened, but I had maybe Dennis got me a bunch of the magazines and I sat by Dennis at the expo and I signed my cover for fans next to Dennis. And I don't remember Dennis Newman,
okay.
Who I'm on the cover with.
Okay.
He had won the USA's in 94.
That's right. Yeah.
And I won my show 94. We took these pictures with Ralph DeHaan at the time. He was a Waitress photographer. And I ended up on the cover and I didn't even know Muscle and Fitness. So this is like all way before anything ever happened for me.
You realize how many athletes are dying to get on the cover and you don't even know it? It's like, I'm on some magazine. What?
Well, I did the photos. I didn't even know who Dennis was. I mean, it's just ridiculous, right? So I remember Ralph calling me in 90, like somewhere in the summer of 94. We had the little recorder, the old recorders with the push the button. You hear the voices, you hear the messages. So I remember I was a waitress at the time. So I come home, 3:00 in the morning from work and I push the blinking light and I'm like, and I hear this voice, well, congratulations, cover girl. And I'm like, what? And Ralph is like telling me, you made the cover of Muscle and Fitness. Congratulations.
Wow.
Be looking for a check in the mail for $200. Or he didn't tell me how much, but and so I was like, what does that mean? I just remember having to call him the next day. And I'm like, I don't even know what this means. He goes like, you made the cover of Muscle and Fitness. And I'm like, what? He's like, November, it'll be out in September or whatever, how they come out early. Yeah. I remember going to the grocery store and buying like 20 copies of it. And I'm sure the lady was like checking out, at the register. And I'm like,
you're like, this is me.
I mean, it was so crazy. And then the whole San Antonio, you'll get a kick out of this. I went to a nail salon and back then it was not the Asian people. It was all the, kind of like the uppity white ladies doing nails. And I went, so I used to.
Only in Austin.
Well, it was San Antonio, but close. So I go into my nail salon and the lady's doing my nails. Her name's Debbie. And she kind of, this is like the talk of the town is in that nail salon. There's 20 ladies in there that do nails. And I walk in and I go sit down and my girl that's doing my nails, she's like, her name's Debbie. She's like, so congratulations on your cover. And I was like, thank you. Well, it's in the grocery store everywhere and everyone's seeing it. So she says, well, you know what the rumor is? And I'm like, I have no idea. And she goes, well, the rumor is that you're on steroids. That's why you got a cover. And I was like, I don't know. What are steroids? I'm 23.
Cover again. It's like, really?
I was 23. I had no idea. I was like, well, when I shot that 23, I'm like, I don't even know what steroids are. Like I was not even, wasn't in the industry, but just because you had a little muscle, but it was like this rumorville. No one could imagine that little Monica from San Antonio would know anyone to put me on a cover. Yeah. So it was just kind of you would appreciate the story. Yeah. But I was like, well, I'm not, but okay, whatever. So we can probably so many stories, right?
I got similar stories. Absolutely.
No, yeah, for sure. Like, but
don't be jealous. Don't be hating.
So it's just kind of funny because it's before that cover came out and I had not been in the industry at all. Like I just barely had done a couple of fitness competitions.
I mean, I can see it and I remember that cover. It's really, you look amazing as always, but I mean, there you look like a very fit.
So,
I would never think, ew, she's on steroids. I mean, I know, look at that.
So what's so funny, Sharon, is I did my own hair and makeup. This is my little leotard I used to train in. And that's all like you, I didn't have a bunch of outfits. Yeah, and I laughed because Dennis just won the USA's and he was a Waitress athlete. And I'm like, usually the girl's hanging on the guy. And he's hanging on me.
That's a great cover.
I look back and I'm like, that's great because he's behind me.
Yeah. And you look just natural and gorgeous there. No, absolutely. It's a wonderful cover. Yeah.
And I had no idea what a cover was. So funny. So many fun stuff. Okay, so your favorite was that with the ladies, and I could understand that. And I'm sure you had some other favorites. So we'll have to maybe dig some up and plant them here in the interview when this comes out. So excited. So I have a question now, because we've talked a lot about the past, and I know we're kind of getting close to our timing. I have a little fun game for you to take a couple of minutes, but can you share some advice for anyone that is maybe listening, that, and men or women, maybe over that 45-year mark where, the body's different, because, we all know 20s and 30s and even 40s, but as you get older, things can change, and you still look amazing. And I know you're taking great care of yourself. So maybe share some advice or tips that have helped you keep yourself in a good place, where if you needed to go do a photo shoot, you probably could do that easily.
Yeah, well, that's a good question, and I get asked that often.
Loaded.
I just picked up a new client who is pretty badly out of shape, and he used to be, never competed, but he's in shape, and now he's 50. I think he just turned the big 50. Anyway, so I just picked him up yesterday. He approached me and blah blah blah. So I had the same conversation. It's never too late. But I mean, everything starts in the kitchen, and it's all about what you eat, how often you eat, just the quality of your food. You are what you eat. It's corny, but it's true. You are what you eat, and stay hydrated. But as far as getting in shape, I mean, if you look at our OGs like Robbie Robinson, or Rick Valente, or Sean Ray,
amazing,
or right, Frank Zane. They never stopped training. Tom Platz, Samir Bannout, they never stopped training. Now myself, I burnt out. I'm sorry, I burnt out. It was my, it was my life for so many years. I actually stopped training. I got tired of the gym. I got more involved with film and TV, and I just, I trimmed down, and I went more for the modeling, and yada. I mean, and, I stayed in shape by, taking more dance classes or running. Really got into running for a while before my knees, fell apart. But I never stopped eating clean. And then there was a period in my life where I had a great loss. It was just devastating. Like nothing was shining in my world anymore. And I was seriously depressed and stressed it took a good 4 years. 4 years, which is part of the reason why I came back to Canada, to be with my daddy, and blah blah. And I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't doing anything physical. I wasn't eating properly. I was drinking a lot of wine. Everything that you shouldn't do, like everything I preach against. And I was really out of shape inside and out. And so as my head started to clear up, and my light started to shine again, I started taking care of myself again. And there was a period I thought, oh my God, what have I done to myself? I finally woke up, wiped the eyes. All right, I'm ready, dust myself off. And I'm like, oh, Sharon. So baby steps. And, as an athlete, you're hardest on yourself, right? Especially knowing, like, I used to have an 8-pack. I've got long abs. I had 8-pack. And I've always had my obliques showing and stuff, then I'm getting everything back, as you can see.
Yes, you look great, girl.
Yeah, the abs are back, everything. But it took a good year of taking care of myself, because I didn't start from ground zero. And I was ahead of the game because I know my body and I knew what to do. But even myself, I had to take baby steps. Like, it's not going to get better yesterday. It's not going to get better next week. And it's just, you just got to take the time, but you got to be committed. You got to want to do it. And I know this new client of mine, he's going to be amazing, because he's like ready. He wants it. And I'm excited for him. But you got to want to do it. But it's just a matter of sticking to your routine. It doesn't have to be hours and hours in a gym. Find out what you like to do. But most of it is 90% diet, as you know, and the rest is training, cardio, sleep, hydrate, stuff like that. But it's important. That's why I think my knees have really digressed. Oh, which I want to mention something real quick while I'm here. And again, the beauty of social media makes our planet this big, right? as yourself, we have a lot of followers from all around the world. And so I mentioned we share stories. A lot of us athletes, whether, you know, I've got different crews. I got the bodybuilding fitness, I got the martial arts, I got the Marines, you know, so everyone's sharing their stories, and we're all getting older, and oh, my back, my shoulder, had a hip replacement, I got a knee replacement. So we're all in that arena right now. And so I posted about a year and a half ago, you know, I'm back in Canada because I have medical here and I need something done on my knees. They're hurting. They're very sad. And so in the interim, this man who follows me on Facebook, I don't know, Dr. Strangely, or Gravely, Stan Gravely. And he just happened to notice, and he goes, hey, you got to try this. Just try something. Trust me. So I'm like, who's this guy? And so I kind of Google this man. Like, all right. Yeah, he's legit. Like, well, if it's free and you're sure, send it. I'll do anything at this point. Because at that time, I was laid up on the couch with my knees, you know, up in ice and heat and the old athlete waiting for an MRI. It took a year and a half to get an MRI. So in the meantime, I'm thinking my knees are going to pop out before I get any kind, you know, it's just very frustrating. Now I'm back into like workout mode. Now I can't, you know. And so all in all, he sends me the product. The first 3 days, I'm like blown away. The inflammation was gone, the pain, I can walk. Can't run, but I don't run anymore anyway. But, you know, I can walk, I can work my legs out again. The inflammation. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but I want in. What is it? A stem cell technology that uses light therapy that helps your body activate its own stem cell growth. And so I'm so in love with this product that I wear it all the time. Now I can go for power walks. I can squat again. I don't want to squat. I used to squat 450. True. I don't want to get that big or heavy anymore, but I can squat again. You know, not to do squats all the time. There's different movements, but that's just an example of how painful. I couldn't bend down to pick anything up, let alone go up and down stairs.
Wow.
This stuff, it's just, it blows my mind. If you want, I'll send you some info after, but look, I'm wearing my patch.
Well, let's see it.
Which shoulder is it on? Where did I put it? Oh, there it is. Right there.
Okay. Wow.
It uses light therapy because we all emit light, humans, and we all, it's called an aura, you know. We use light therapy to help your body activate its own stem cells. It sounds ridiculous, right? Yeah, I know.
But it works.
I know. It works. So now I actually signed on with the company as a distributor. And I've got several people either trying it out right now that already signed on because it works.
Is it something that USA can get to, or is it just Canadian?
Anybody? Yeah, I'll send you the link.
I would love to look at it.
Yeah. They're called X39 patches, and I'll send you all the info. But okay. I'm serious. I mean, I know I'm trying to. This isn't a commercial. It is kind of like to get it out there. So
I'm happy with you sharing. Share, because there are a lot of people.
Amazing.
So amazing. Is it something that you have to change out every month? Is it at one time? How long does that patch last?
It looks like a Band-Aid. It's non-transdermal because there's no drugs in it. There's no medication in it. It's just full of copper peptides. And as you know, we're built of peptides. It's amino acid building blocks. And it just uses that with proteins and certain herbs that helps light therapy. It sounds ridiculous. I'll give you the info. And David Schmidt, the inventor, he breaks it down. Okay. But it's all natural. That's what I love about it. And I have elders using it. I've got my lawyer's mother on it.
Wow.
And these are some of the people have had injuries for years. I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous. I mean, I couldn't believe it either, but I tried it. And it's just, then now, you know, I'm on it daily. You can, you know, and again, it's not an aspirin where it's going to make you feel better, but 4 days later, you're going to feel shitty again. You have to wear it, at least give 3 months, and wear it 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Because 12 hours, you're activating stem cells. Then you give your body a break, take it off. And then during those 12 hours, then it starts to delegate the new cells to where it needs to be. So, you know, I had pain issues and hip issue. And so when I first started using it, it's like, oh man, my hip is better, but my knees are But I'll take it to where it needs it most because the body is very smart, as we know. Right?
Yeah, great.
It's got a brain of its own.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love this product, but
yeah, I would love to hear more about it for sure. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. But very cool. I mean, and again, you know, you're never too old, and you just gotta, you know, it's all through the nutrition and hydration.
So just to finish that thought, if someone wants to hear more about it, they need to reach out to you. So where can people reach out to you to learn more about that pain therapy?
Sharon Bruneau at hotmail.com.
Sharon Bruneau at hotmail.com. Okay. And
Yeah,
then
just put in like a subject, stem cell.
I'm in pain, help. I'm in pain, help.
I'm in pain. Oh, hey.
Very cool. Very cool. And then as far as training, what other services are you providing right now? You did mention having a client. So what other,
I have a few clients right now.
And what is that online?
Or COVID. Yeah. Some here now, again, because COVID shut everything down for all of us, right? So thank God for the internet, but we can do it online. And I'm very hands-on here in Canada right now. I'll be returning to the US after everything's done here with my knees, but I am commuting. But yeah, I just give a lot of information online.
Okay.
Very basic. I'm old school. I'm no keto diet. I'm none of this, it's just, I'm just old school because it works. It worked for me. It works for my people. It's simple. It's easy. You just got to stick to it. And you've got to commit.
And so for nutrition, because I'm sure like me, everyone's curious, are you eating multiple times a day, every day right now? Do you eat like 4 or 5 times? Are you 2 times?
Time when I was all depressed from that, I wasn't eating, but no. Right. That's one thing that's never changed with me, all in all, is what and how often I eat. I think everyone should eat every 2.5 to 3 hours, maybe every 3 to 4 hours. Okay, you should get at least 5 meals, smaller meals. We're talking small, not big, and snack all day. It keeps your sugar levels healthy, and you don't have any spikes, and it keeps your metabolism running. You got to feed your engine. My analogy has always been in all my seminars, even at Camp Pendleton in the day when I used to go with Tom Dieters, is you fine tune your car, you give it the best oil, the best gas, you make sure this is done and that's done, you shine our nose, it's like your body is a fine tuned vehicle. You got to feed it properly. You got to make sure that's watered. You got to make sure of this and that, you got to treat it because this is your vehicle, and you want to keep it healthy and working great. Treat it like an expensive sports car. You wouldn't throw shitty gas in your car, right? But you've got to keep your body fed because a lot of times people think, well, intermittent fasting, okay, well, it depends on your situation. But if I only eat like 2 meals a day, then I'm going to lose weight. Well, you might be a flatter, smaller version of yourself, but when you finally do eat, you're going to, again, it's because your body goes in starvation mode, and we can get into all that,
Yeah.
But, everybody should eat 2.5 to 3 hours, maybe at the most 4 hours a day, small meals. I'm still high protein, minimal carbs, low fat. I have a cheat day once a week, and it's usually buffalo wings or pizza. I don't do sugar. I just don't do sugar. That has, and of course, I'm constantly drinking water. Oh, by the way, this cup, it is water.
It's not Jim Beam or some whiskey. So do you drink wine still at all?
I do at dinner now and then.
Bit. Yeah,
I will. If I go out for dinner, I like a nice glass of red
wine. Me too.
But yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well,
and sodium, don't be afraid of sodium. There's a lot of sodium, stay away from packaged food. Fresh is best. But I mean, it's okay, to have a bit of sodium in your foods because it's still a mineral that your body needs.
I carry around a little thing of pink salt.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I have it with me all the time. My husband's like, "You have your salt, right?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." It's like pull it out on my shirt. I'm like, yeah. No matter how small my bag is, I will always have a little, because I have the little baby Ziploc pill Ziplocs. You know what I'm talking about? They're like this big. They're like little pouches. I put my salt in there so it can fit in any bag, any little bitty zipper. So I always have my salt with me because I'm like, you never know when you want some salt.
Priorities.
Exactly. This has been so fun. I really enjoyed talking to you. I know I'm looking at the time, and I want to respect your time too. So we're going to do our fun little game here. And I know, let's see, we've told people how to get hold of you, right?
Sharon Bruneau
at hotmail.com. And then obviously you're on Instagram and Facebook, right?
And Facebook. Yeah. Sure. Reach out. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And then you've told everyone how to eat right and stay healthy and look amazing. And I love all of our stories. So thank you so much for sharing. So are you ready for this quick little game? I'm going to say a word, and then you're going to tell me whatever comes to mind first. So we're trying to be fast about it. Just whatever comes to mind first. Ready?
Okay, doctor.
Fitness.
Fitness. The first thing that comes to mind from fitness, being in shape.
Gold's Gym, Venice.
Oh, great funny stories. Wonderful memories. On a stationary bike upstairs to Paul Dillette. He'll laugh. He'll know what I'm talking about.
Awesome, awesome. How about glam makeup?
Glam makeup is fun for photo shoots, but as me, I rarely wear it. You know, rarely in makeup. But
your natural
I think
beauty,
of photo
Sharon.
shoots.
How about camera?
Love it.
Camera. Bodybuilding.
It's a lifestyle.
There you go. Iron Man magazine.
Mike Nephew.
Sunset.
Dennis Beach.
Joe Weider.
My Papa Joe.
Dumbbells.
Barbells.
And the last one, stage.
Stage. What can I, that's a broad stage. I don't know. My platform.
There you go. There you go.
That was
stage.
tougher than I thought. Wait, what? Is there a timer? I don't know.
That's it. I know. I mean, you know, we could take each one of those words and create a whole conversation about it. I
Well,
mean,
there's
I
so
think,
many memories. With each word, it's like I have so many memories. Are like,
I know, right? I mean, I think of sunset, and I always go directly to Robert Reef and Magic Light. He's like, Magic Light, sunset, everyone, you know, let's take those pictures.
That's
And he
right.
he would get
We had some
so
great
he would get
sunset
so
shows.
excited about that time of the day.
Yeah.
And it was like,
Favorite.
get
The golden
together.
hour. The golden
Yes.
hour. Yeah.
All right, Sharon,
Yeah.
it's so fun to catch up with you. Thank you so much for joining me here on the 𝗦𝗽cie Brant Show and offering so much great information and fun stories. And thank you for what you've done in our industry to help create what we all get to know and love and utilize still to today.
I had a blast, and thank you. I'm honored to have been invited. Hope to do this
Yay.
again. I hope to see you soon.
I know.
Are you going to be at the Olympia?
Yes.
Yes, I'll see you there.
You're going to be there?
I will be there. Yeah.
So
Going.
we're going to have a booth for the 𝗦𝗽cie Brant Show, so I'll have to see you there.
I'll
Come
swing
by.
Maybe we can get all the girls to come by.
Right? I'm going to have to see who else
I
is
know
going to be
Sherry
there.
will be there.
Yeah, wouldn't that be fun? I'll bring my my cover or
Yeah, bring it all signed.
calendar and we'll all sign it.
Aw,
I have, and if you don't have one, I have one for you.
yeah, I'd
I'll
like
bring
one.
for you. Okay.
I'll grab it at the Olympia.
Yes, you will. All right, sweetie. Big hug.
Thank
Love
you,
you.
my dear. Love you much. And bye, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Bye, Sharon. No. So fun. I just love my conversations with these people that have helped create this industry. So thank you guys for joining and tuning in here for the 𝗦𝗽cie Brant Show. Make sure you go get some legendary foods and fill your tasty taste buds with some tasty pastries. All right, guys. See you next time. Stay fit and love life. Hey, guys, if you've enjoyed the 𝗦𝗽cie Brant Show, don't forget to subscribe. Ring that bell, and if you have any ideas or suggestions for the show, comment below, and I'm happy to get back to you.